Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Among You podcast by Kuchu Times Media Group, a project supported by Uganda Key Populations Consortium under the Free to Be Me project. It is aimed at demystifying the myths around LGBTQ plus Ugandans by sharing how similar the Ugandan experience is, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. We hope that these stories build allies out of you. Enjoy. Hello and welcome back to Among You podcast by Kuchu Times. My name is Samantha, and today we get to talk about creative work, creativity, creatives in their entirety. The creative scene in Uganda has been shaped by so many things, but I think the biggest thing that happened was the COVID-19 pandemic, and we have gotten more creative as party people and as party make happens, the creatives. But also, I think we have not been the same ever since then. And more things keep coming up. There's now like 2 organizations that are supposed to be holding artists. That too, no? Both run by the state, meanwhile. I find that so funny. But yes. So yeah, there's so many things that keep coming up. There are those 2 organizations. There's the copyright law that people are now pushing for. I don't know how well it works in Uganda, but that's a conversation we're going to have today about different ways of creation. There's a new, how does this Computer Misuse Act affect, especially now, journalists in their creative work, or even the recent, I'll go crazy and say Anti-Homosexuality Act and how it affects journalists when they're reporting their work, especially that close about promotion. Even artists, when you're creating, I feel like right now, people are afraid to even make their work colorful because of certain things. And so those are the conversations we're going to have today and see how not only by the way queer artists are affected, but if you're an artist and you cannot use all the colors, I don't know, are you a happy artist? Can you do art in monochrome? Yeah, so I would love my amazing creatives to introduce themselves and what they do.
Okay, as usual, I'm Bana. So today I'm in the capacity of a creative. I love art. I'm a graphics designer. That is my main creative lane. But I love music. I love the colorful things of life. I love AI as well. I love creating stuff with artificial intelligence. And something Samantha mentioned around copyright. And there's an interesting conversation about copyright where, for example, I recreate your voice and using AI, who has the right to your voice? Who has the right? I recreate your art. I recreate your pictures, your visuals, your fashion designs. Who has the right to that? And that is an interesting question that I think Uganda is 4,000 years away from. By the time we start to think of it, oh God. Because right now we are even complaining of just basic copyright of like someone stealing your song. Suna Ben stealing your beat. Ding-a-ding-ding. And you hear it like in the bar and they have mixed it with a conscience song and you're not getting even 100 shillings off of it. So I think we are light years ahead from that conversation, but I'm really excited about today's conversation. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Guy. I'm a fashion designer, costume designer, dancer, artist, and so many. My creativity is unceasing. So there's always something new that comes up. And I'm quite happy to be here to share with you a lot of insights and knowledge that I've gathered over the years, and looking forward to the conversation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phyllis. I am a journalist and also a very enthusiastic writer. I've also started venturing into doing arts and crafts, like using my own hands. Of course, it's not like I was going to use someone else's hands, but, I've gone back to something that I used to like to do, like knitting sweaters, making tiny, tiny doll clothes and all that. So I'm really excited to be here and I look forward to the conversation.
Hi, my name is Tyson and I do music full time. I've been doing music for 7 or 8 years professionally now. And I'm excited to see what the creative space I'm in right now has to offer and the podcast in general.
Raise your hand if you are about to leave when Bana was going on and on about AI.
Yeah, I feel like I made this podcast a little too serious. Yeah, but sorry, I feel like I made it too serious. But I mean, we are in a shitty world. I'm just curious about what you guys think about like the general creative space that you're in. I'll start with Phyllis. You are a journalist. You're a female journalist. How do you feel about inclusion of women in journalism? I mean, how do you feel about the current state of female journalists, for example, in the country, but even in the creative space?
Okay, so I have been out of like active journalism for about, I think, 7 years now. And although I can speak to that, what I'd like to say is female journalists female journalists at that time had to jump a very big hurdle to just even be heard or even considered serious people or be considered as serious journalists. Because I remember even when I was getting a job at one of the FM stations in this country, they told me we could have hired you. No. They told me that, yes, we are hiring you, but for us, this is a very big risk because you're a woman and we don't know whether you're going to get married or you're going to get pregnant. We don't know we don't know how much time you're going to allocate to this media house. Yeah. And then I remember also went to another TV station and I was trying to apply for a job. And the programs director back then told me, I'm sorry, we can't give you the job because when we do give you the job, I will want to sleep with you and I don't think you're going to be able to do that.
Now?
Same person hit his partner in a meeting at work because of issues they had at home. But at the end of the day, when you look at the stories that women are writing now, we are writing better stories compared to our male counterparts. I think it's because with advocacy and, donors coming in and helping us and giving us like scholarships and all that, women have gotten more empowered to report their stories. However, if I may say, they still look at women as that piece of candy that you put there for the male gaze. For example, when you look at the anchors that we have, the female anchors, most of them have to have tight skirts, big hips. They have to be light-skinned,
push-up bra,
and all that. They a full face of makeup, and then they make them do stupid videos on the side. Like, I am a news anchor. Why are you making me dance?
Yeah,
challenges,
TikTok challenges. But even those who are given like serious gigs, they are given the bufikira. Yeah? You reminded me of that video of that NBS journalist. Katuli wano mumbogo, embogo. Then the wild animal chased her.
Oh yeah,
you know that video.
Seen it. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is the perfect example of how female journalists are relegated to doing just stories abulungi wansi. They're never given like the serious political stories, the serious stories, and the ones who are given, you have to be a quote unquote seasoned journalist.
Yeah, and then away from that, when
but even Nandutu was not given.
No. Why
I mean,
she
was in parliament.
Yes, Nandutu is someone you want us to look at as a good example.
I just feel like she's giving superhero vibes because she was giving superhero vibes because she had a catchphrase. Some reason why she did anything.
That's what I'm saying.
Had a catchphrase.
Her name.
But even then, she was given the comedy section of the news. Yeah.
Not even that. When you look at the parliamentary thing that she used to host, it had substance. But at the end of the day, they turned it into a money-making thing. Not even comedy, a money-making thing. So like they would have an NGO come and work with them. Like if that NGO is not there, she could not go and do her parliamentary thingy because it was not sponsored. I mean, who's going to pay for all these microphones? Who's going to pay for the room? Who's going to pay for these people's transport? Those kinds of things. And then even when you look at what she did when she left media, especially the stealing of iron sheets. To date, that thing hurts me.
Yeah. There is a lot of the good female journalists or the good creatives are drained from it's called brain drain. And you have an experience of that as an artist or as an actor, yeah? The good actors never last in the country. I mean, you're not going to see. Look at the Nanaka girls. Look at the
twins.
The twins, yeah. They will hit it, and immediately someone will just, yeah.
GNL who ended up on that show, and then it didn't work out for
so. So is it an experience you see, or is it a challenge? Anyway?
I think the challenge for many artists is the environment, because a lot of times you have to choose between changing who you are or changing your environment in order for you to grow. So a lot of the times you're seeing artists going to environments that are more accepting, more open, because then they can experiment, do this, do that. Whereas here, there's moral police, there's this you can't do, or I can't do this, or you need to change that hairstyle, you don't look right. So artists are moving to change their environment, not really, so they can be who they are and really give us, authentic art, versus artists then staying and then being oppressed and depressed. That's why you see they'll move, they'll go here, they'll just come back, just sort of like drop in, give us something small, then go back, or just connect with us online, because the environment they're in is not great.
You reminded me of something we talked about years ago when we were that whole model crew. So like right now when you look back, like 90% are all in the US or in the UK. They are doing work in the US and in the UK, and they were like good models, good and then the remainder are fat and old and no longer modeling. The ones who stayed here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry.
Excuse you.
No, the ones who stayed here are not looking after themselves.
So to be fat is to not be looking after yourself.
On a model standard.
On a model standard, yeah.
I happen to be a model. I am a model.
No.
Diversity.
What I wanted to say is that no one has ever called Uganda the land of opportunity, people.
No one has ever done what?
Uganda is not the one they call the land of opportunity. It's the part of Africa. It's meant to be looked at. Not the land of opportunity is somewhere else. Yeah. What is that? What they put? That the dream is. I've never heard of the Ugandan dream. Nobody has a Ugandan
dream yet.
I'm curious to know from Tyson, how have you ever been restricted in your creative space, especially working in Uganda? Like, have you ever felt like you are boxed in? Like, because guys mentioned something about like hair, like appearance, or like the style of music, or the style of the way you do your things. Have you ever felt like you are boxed in as a creative?
All the time. But even speaking from a point of not a creative, in Uganda you have to keep certain sides of you hidden. Not everything should be shown to the public, especially if you are a person that is looked at by people, no matter what you do, whether you're creative, a poet, or a TV presenter. You just have to hide certain parts of you. You have to start adhering to what you think Ugandans are used to seeing. Maybe it could be a dressing style. Sure. It could be the no hair thing that Guy said. It could be the no piercings, because I personally have like 4 piercings, but I cannot go on stage with them because of the perspective I'm showing the Ugandan crowd. I've been in a crowd where people will judge you based on what songs you decide to sing as an artist. And to me, that is very restricting to my creativity.
I'd love for this question for this answers now to get a bit more personal. We have looked at the generic scape of creative in Uganda and singled out the fact that even after all these years, women still have that we're still being kind of held behind. And those that are defying get called funny names. Like Shiba. Shiba has really gone very far away in telling people, no.
Winnie Nwaji.
You will not box. Nwaji is a bit. The hands are thrown very quickly.
She's out of the box.
Yeah. And so, even Farida Nakaziwe, by the way, she's very
she's
her
taken-
person. She's very her
taken blood.
person. And she doesn't, I like how she doesn't take on people's,
Bullshit.
it wasn't me that's on live thing. But yes, I want us to zero it down to now further into the minority. But before I go, do you know that as poets, Banner's issue of AI, we are struggling with poets, with all people who can read. They're generating poems on AI and
Yeah.
taking gigs because for them, and there's no way to check out an AI poem.
I mean, you have to be passionate. You have to be. When I was sick,
Cassava. Yeah, and I'm actually enjoying it.
as long as you can read and you have a good intonation.
So anyway, now let us bring it into our context. Now that the rest of Uganda knows that we are facing the things that they're facing, deeper as queer creatives, I'd love first of all hear from from Tyson as a person. Has it ever affected? Have you ever had first of all to disclose that you are queer? And if no, when has?
At a performance?
Yeah, like has it ever come up like when you're performing? But also, how did you handle it? Because I see how so many mainstream artists are being, even those that we don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say I know about, but people are quick to come out and levy these
And
accusations on people and label them. So as people who are out there, who are actually queer and are creatives, I'd love to hear about those experiences.
So I'm going to use the most recent example that happened to me. I don't want to mention that place, but my last job, my last gig, my crowd, the whole crowd was seated and just having a good time, because usually the people that will come to see me are my closest friends, because when you're posting and saying, I'll be performing here, it's your friends that see that post and invite their other friends. And then before you know it, 70% of the crowd is queer people. And that has nothing to do with you. That is just the energy you're oozing with.
Yeah.
Understand? So the other 30%, this time after a period of doing the same gig for over 5 months, decides to retaliate. And they were like, we do not want such character here. They did this on the microphone.
Wow.
Because in my session, I have a session where I'd be like, okay, open mic, let everyone come and do something, a poem, a rap, a vocal thing. And then this guy comes up, I think he was a little bit high, I don't know. But he comes up and he's like, we hate you, we completely despise you, we've always wanted to tell you. And he's doing this through a rap song. So at first, I was like, is it his song? Is it a freestyle? Because it took me completely by surprise. When none, do you know, it's sobering up. I was like, shit, this is actually really happening. Because it was my first time facing homophobia head on, like directed to me, because he said all these nasty things looking straight into my eyes, because I was right there. And he was like, we completely hate you and your friends. We hope all of you get arrested for what you're doing. We hate how you dress. We hate how, like, everything in a rap song.
And the owners of the place were like,
So before I even get to the owners, what I did, my first reflex was to, this place is no longer safe. Get your friends out of here. All of them were high, of course. All of them were high. So we just had to sober off, grab what we can and go. Then me, I had to talk to my bosses, because I had to, make payments and everything, because my turn was done. And this is what my bosses told me. My bosses told me, it seems there's been a misunderstanding between your crowd and the usual crowd of the place. So we're going to ask you to take some few weeks off. But we all know what that means. We all know what that means. And when they say that, I definitely knew I didn't have a job simply because of my sexuality or the people that come to my gigs. But it was, I realized it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the insecurity they have over people like me, who are probably more creative and more invested in their creativity. Because, I mean,
Listen, like even one thing that I find very fascinating about this story is the fact that they were looking at you straight in the eye. Like, If you want, ask properly. You don't have to diss me in public.
You don't even
This
have to do it
sounds
on
like
microphone.
internal
I know.
homophobia.
Like you could have
Because
just
there's no
walked
way you're
up
going
to
to
you
look at
and
someone
said
you
it to
hate.
you know?
And look them straight in the eye and tell them, I wish you die. Like, you can't even have that.
He started this rap, and by the time
He was
ending the rap, he had like 10 people with him on stage. 10 people just rooting him on and like supporting him and like, yes, finally someone is speaking out.
It sounds like a well-rehearsed.
Like, I think they've been waiting for that day.
Yeah.
They've been waiting for that day they could actually,
I actually
disclose
think
of
they
this.
sat down and rehearsed those things.
They rehearsed the rap.
Yeah. Mhm.
We're going to show these pictures today.
But also, as far as the act goes, isn't there mere act promotion?
Exactly.
Them coming on stage and saying those things. It is promotion. It's
Yes.
content, and it's not.
Yes.
Yeah,
As,
I mean,
as a greedy lawyer,
So
have
kindly,
them.
if you're listening, don't get creating distracts. You'll go to jail.
Even the homophobes are creatives. I mean,
Yes, but they'll go to jail.
Sempa is having followers on TikTok simply
But that
because
one doesn't even. He has been promising us a book since 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
A book
Up to
about
now,
what?
About LGBT people, and it is not coming
But
out.
he even promised us a machine.
Sexuality is changing every day.
Yeah, we haven't seen it.
The
until
machine
now.
came. It came and went back. But yeah, carrying on with Tyson.
yeah. So I'm so curious, Guy. When you talk about the fashion industry and fashion, I feel like there is a perspective that it is a queer dominated industry, but at the same time it's also female dominated. And so for people who are straight, they don't feel like there is a space for them in the fashion industry, or people who feel like I mean I like fashion, but I'm not maybe flamboyant, or maybe I don't express myself, but I love fashion. I love to do fashion and design. Do you feel like there are people in that space who are looking for a place of belonging, but because the industry maybe there's a perspective that the industry is full of flamboyant, happy, fun, engaging people, and they feel like they don't have a space in that industry?
Yes, true. There's a lot of, flamboyance and all that, color. But I believe people who are looking for a place and are coming into this space with closed minds are always going to have very, very difficult time. Because every now and then there's going to be someone who doesn't care about, how...
That is the nature of art.
Yeah. Who doesn't care about how you feel or your opinions about them? They've come to work and they're going to work, and the one who hired them. And if you're planning on hiring people and you're going to pull those strings, then chances are you're not going to get the best. You're going to get people who are just, doing what they're doing, maybe just to get by, to make money.
Yeah.
But really, if you want to experience like creativity and fun and enjoy your work while doing the job, then these people are going to come in. The last project I did had a couple of queer people here and there, and it was like the highlight. Every time they took center stage or they did something, they were the highlight, and everyone was sort of like looking forward to them. And that's the thing. If you come with a closed mind, you're going to have a difficult time. You're going to have people, wondering what's your problem. I mean, relax. It's not like they're trying
just
to
a dress.
Yeah, it's things like that.
I know. It's
but-
just a wig.
Yeah.
Just peaceful piece.
But also, what do they think we be doing in closets?
No.
And you get, but also, since I've been in both creative world like film and theater and stuff like that, I've noticed that you may find such kind of rigid type of people in the fashion world who will really be like, I don't like such, I don't want to do such, and all that, and they have their way. But in the creative space, say theater or film, it's kind of difficult because what we are bringing, all of us are literally either playing a role or you never get to see the real us until we are out of these roles. You know, if I've come in as a costume designer, I'm just going to be crazy about my work. By the time we get chance to interact, it will be way after. And normally we have like a rap party or something like that. And then it's just that. And then all of us are off to another project. So we never get enough time to interact for people to know who we are, unless there's one person who's just going to point you out and make it their job. But what I like a lot about theater and film is most of the time there's a wellness person, and then there are really policies against bullying and all violence and, you know, things like that. Yeah. They tell people, you know, you have to be respectful, shower, all those basic things that, you know, human beings tend to forget. And especially in theater, and I'm so thankful.
We are sorry, but shower, things human beings tend to forget and highlight what shower.
I've had that experience, and Tyson is my witness. I've had that experience in the gig world when I used to do gigs, and like people would come and they are smelling of sex, urine.
That's not what we're doing here today. That's not what we're doing here.
No, I mean,
it's not the party.
It shows that you're not respecting the craft when you do not present yourself as someone who is ready to the best side of yourself. Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like anything. Even journalist. Yeah, if you show up to interview someone and your shoes are yeah. I mean, there is creativity and then there is reality.
Yeah.
Does anyone else feel like that is exactly what the creativity in Uganda would be like if there was no queer energy anywhere in it? Like in the music, in the fashion, in the poetry, in the acting, if there was no queer energy anywhere in it, it was only straight people doing all that. Does anyone feel like that is exactly what would it be?
Full of yourself match.
I mean,
calling yourself Royco.
I mean, seasoning.
We are all actors.
I'd really love to hear from Phyllis because as a double minority, and I'm sorry to use that word, but yeah. And a woman and a queer woman, I would love to hear more about now your specific queer prejudices that you face in the work that you do.
What I'd personally say is especially within the queer community is very forgiving compared to other spheres of work or other places where I've worked. For example, you can come and do your manyanga in the queer community, yes, but at some point they will forgive you and they'll want you back home, which is okay. However, unfortunately, when you look at the mainstream media, there are people who would not even talk to me right now. There are people that I can send a text to and I'll never get a response. You get? Like, for them, the minute that they knew I am queer, that was the end of it between me and them. That was I wouldn't say cancelled. I wouldn't say cancelled. They don't cancel people like me. But what I'm trying to say is the mainstream media and also even work areas are not so forgiving of queer people, especially queer women, because it's very easy for someone to say, can I have kids with you? And then maybe they will see you're not queer and then you can keep your job or something. And you're like, I do not even want to have kids. Why are you giving me that alternative? What makes you think like my ovary can even carry kids? You get, but like and they could be minor. They could be minor or major instances or major shows of homophobia, or ways in which they show you homophobia or discriminate against you. For example, I remember in this media house that we were in, we had a group where we would gather money, and you know those things of chibina, eh? Didn't everyone leave the group for me? Like when I came out, everyone just left the group for me. And I was like, wow, okay, this is interesting.
So did you eat their money?
We didn't. We hadn't even started gathering the money properly when I came out. And then even when you look at the community itself, I will personally talk about my experience with Kenyans in Uganda. They also do not like me because I'm queer, which is like kind of heartbreaking and weird. Because not even going to talk about that. But up to now, I have this phobia. Like if I hear someone speaking Kikuyu right now, I would even run away. You get? This is why I'm not even able to go back to my country. Because I remember that people that assaulted me and beat me up were speaking my language. So like those are some of the experiences that we go through. But of course, at the end of the day, you heal and you move on. But we should also note that as long as people keep on saying that these things are not happening, and they're the same people that are doing those same things, and you want to ask them now, you guys beat me up, and then you're going to say there's no homophobia. What was that happened to me? Or is it because I was your gango, you feel like it's not homophobia?
A beating.
I do not understand. But such is the life that I have lived. And also, maybe my last word, if anyone is in the closet and they want to survive in this country,
Stay there.
Stay in your closet. These things you see us doing on social media, some of us are mad. Yeah?
Team nothing to
Exactly. Some of us are just tired. You get? And like our family members already know, or you lost,
Public secrets.
end of story, right? But if you're still in the closet, stay in the closet, grab your bag, and survive.
Make up from there.
Yeah, I would say it's also wise for you not to walk into spaces and just be like, yeah. You just have to turn it down. Watch the space when you can see that you can, then you start. If there's no room for that,
read the room basically.
Read the room before you become, happy and all.
Listen,
that.
let me last one. For me, even if I'm among queer people that I don't know, I will tell them I am a heterosexual woman. What is your problem? Gay? What is that? It's disgusting. Don't do that. That's how much damage people
Can
have
never
caused
be
to
me.
us. You get? That's how much damage people are causing towards us. And they're just there laughing and thinking, there's no homophobia. No one is getting hurt. Nothing is happening to anyone.
Yeah. So I want to do.
I unfortunately want to wrap up.
Yes.
And so I'm going to guide where I want the parting shots to be.
Okay.
One of the things that all creatives in Uganda share is we have this conversation about money. In a minute each, how being paid. I'll go first. I of course, when you're starting out, we all work for exposure. You're a plant, they're exposing you to sunlight all the time. And then they start paying you. And then certain rumors fly around and then they stop inviting you. Yeah. So, and when you're a woman still, there's a way that, depending on who's organizing the gig, if it's women, you're going to get your pay. But it depends on who is organizing the gig. And that's something I feel like all creatives in Uganda share, that we are not really paid well.
Yes.
But I also love the fact that there's a rise in activism that is now actually paying artists for their work. So if you're an artist out there, whether you're queer, an artist in general, the last thing I would say, and it's going to be so weird for the podcast host to be the first to close, but yeah, that's just apply, go online, look for these opportunities. There are exhibitions, there are people seeking people to do their proposals. International organizations are welcoming papers by journalists, investigative journalism stories. Don't be boxed into this shilling economy that is really not paying anybody anything. Thank you.
Guy,
for me, really, I have my introduction really to creative world and art world I was paid from the get-go. I was paid. I had a great job, and the opportunities were always good, even when I lost the job. And I didn't lose the job because of anything queer or I just was, I don't know. No, I just became something they couldn't handle. But even when I lost the job, the other jobs I took on were still paying, and they valued the work. But it wasn't until after the pandemic that I now started getting gigs where they feel like paying me that money is wasting a lot of money. So it's just really of recent that I've really had to, let go of gigs, work half-time, or really just be indifferent on this job that they will not want to hire me again. But even after I left, some of these things after I left, that's when other artists realized that, they need to pay us better. We are doing so much work. Because especially in like film and theater, there's just so much preparation work that they don't pay for. Then there's the work itself that they pay peanuts for. And then they expect you to also be available for the work after doing, like post-production and things like that. You have to also do like some social media, make noise for the gig and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you're broke. And these are conversations that we've had because I've told them, you guys, look, producers are building houses, buying new cars and stuff like that. You're still using a border. When you fall sick on set, they will not even want, like they haven't thought that far about your health and what. And then you still sit down and negotiate this small money. And most of them are being funded or they have the money. It's not like it's self-funding. Because it's very rare that you find someone that's self-funding. And even if they're self-funding, there's a source, Yeah. but the idea of paying creatives really a lot of money hasn't yet sunk in here. Yeah.
For me, one thing people... I'm as a graphics designer, and I think anyone who has done graphics, it doesn't matter like whether you're queer or anything. Anyone who has done graphics has been through this before. Like someone will do a logo for you, will do some art for you, and then you have like put your best, you've put your artistic eye to it, and then someone who does not know art, will be like, add this paragraph, add this line, no. At the end of the day, your art becomes now. A novel. A UTL. And then on top of that, you've gone through that whole struggle.
Yeah.
And then they are going to pay you less. Less than like what you want. I mean, if I tell you, I'm going to do for you a logo, even if it's a basic, even if it's letter I, and I tell you that I'm going to do this logo at 100,000 shillings. And I put my investment and my time. Because the thing with art is that us artists are the ones who are supposed to value our art, our craft.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are so offended when we value our craft. When I say that my logo of letter I costs 100,000 to just design, and you see, I designed a logo for someone. I shared this story with someone, and it was a very shitty logo, very shitty. But I gave them samples. I was like, you know what? Londa mukuzino, then we develop it further. Now londa mu sample. The next day I saw it on a t-shirt and they pull up banner. Sorry. They didn't reply my message. They blue ticked me.
I know someone else it happened. Wow.
Yeah, they didn't reply my message. They blue ticked me. I was not paid. I was blue ticked, my dear.
Oh.
Like on the samples. It wasn't even high quality. It was like a WhatsApp image. Nagenda nakozamu nakateka ku t-shirt bana kitongole nga chiwedde. So I saw it. I was like, is this me or did someone try to? But no, someone can't do it. Like, I was like, Gondi. I kept quiet. Up to today, they are still using the logo. Shameless. But the thing is, I mean, people think that graphics work or graphics design because it looks, it's so easy and it's there are letters and words. It's not Microsoft Word. And please value graphics designers. Lastly, please value graphics designers. When they tell you that the logo is 60,000, it is actually 60,000. Sometimes they're even giving it to you on cheap.
It should be more than 60,000.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, 60,000 is nkuyambyeko o mkwano gwange. Yeah.
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 Okay, so as a creative, vocalist and musician, post and during lockdown, financial-wise, I still feel like people feel like they are doing me a favor by hiring me, is how I feel. They're like, they want you to be grateful for the bare minimum you're being paid.
Yes.
And not even considering the fact that you are giving 110% of your effort and your creativity. You will not come and say, okay, I was given 500 for a gig that was supposed to be 1.5. Let me give them the service that is worth their money. No, you will come and give 110% because...
Give 500 worth performance.
Bare minimum. Anyway.
No, me, I've learned to do shitty things for shitty money. So,
Thank you, people.
Not attach my name to
Take hours from here, do the bare minimum.
Yeah. And then for me, I think I'd like to end with asking our bosses, our donors, and the people that we work for to consider how they pay us. For example, you'll find a boss paying a heterosexual person more money than they would have paid you. And then for them, their excuse is, this person has come to support us. This person is doing work for us, yet they don't have to do the work for us. And I'm like, consultancy, those things.
Give that person a shot.
Those things, yeah. And then you're like, you pay me that money because I can do a better job. I know better what the community is going through. Because you're going...
I can communicate the message better.
Yeah. And then they're always like, these people don't know what they're doing and they're new to the queer environment, so we have to handle them with kid gloves. That's not how it works, right? Pay your queer people more. And then maybe, lastly, no matter what, never ever stop being creative.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to us. Catch us next time. And to follow this podcast journey at Kuchu Times Radio, phone on our website at www.kuchutimes.com and all our social media platforms.